Welcome to the Padres Postgame Show on the Padres Radio Network. Coming up, we'll deliver a full recap of today's game, including highlights from the biggest moments. We'll take a trip down to the manager's office to hear from Mike Shildt. Plus, we'll bring you scores from around Major League Baseball. The Padres Postgame Show starts now on the Padres Radio Network.
Welcome into our post-game show here on the Padres Radio Network. A tough one for the Padres in the middle game of this three-game series in St. Petersburg, Florida at the Trop. Final score, Rays 11 and the Padres 4. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. A lot to do on our post-game coverage. We'll hear all the radio highlights, recap this game from start to finish. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt and much, much more to come. Padres winning yesterday's series opener 13-5. And the Rays, again, winning it 11-4, sets up the rubber match of this three-game series tomorrow. Padres now 77-61 on the year. Rays improve to 67-68. The main story in this one, no way around it, a tough outing for Randy Vasquez. Went 4 innings and a third, 9 earned runs given up, 11 hits, walked 4, struck out 3, 93 pitches today for Randy. The Padres did take an early 2-0 lead in this game. Jake Cronenworth, a 2-run home run to make it 2-zip. You felt pretty good about where the Padres were, taking an early lead, building off that momentum offensively from yesterday. But then the Rays scoring 1 in the first inning, 4 in the second, 3 in the fourth inning, and 1 in the fifth inning. All that again against Randy Vasquez. And, you know, we talked about it pregame with Vasquez. You zoom out, and his last 9 starts coming in, a 3.40 ERA. He had been on the whole, I think, pretty good in the sense of, look, we know with Randy, at least at this point in his career, he doesn't get a lot of swing and miss, and he gets hit, and he struggles against lefties, but he does get hit, doesn't get a ton of strikeouts really at all. Or I should say, really, just when you look at strikeout percentage, it's not, you know, in the upper echelon of major league starters right now. The point is, doesn't get a ton of swing and miss and gets hit. Now, the good thing for Randy in his last start against the Cardinals was a good example of it. There have been a lot of games this season where he's been able to limit damage. He's been able to give up some runs, but keep the Padres in a game. Go 6 innings, 2 runs given up like he did his last start earlier this road trip. Unfortunately, today just wasn't one of those days. He gave up 11 hits, 9 earned runs in 4 innings and a third, and the game really got away from the Padres, even if after they had the early 2-0 lead. So we'll see for Vasquez what is next for him in this sense. You, Darvish, and Bob and Tony mentioned this on the postgame wrap-up, and I think it's an appropriate question right now. You, Darvish, threw 66 pitches yesterday in a simulated game, or I should say really a controlled game against Cincinnati Reds minor leaguers in Arizona yesterday. We know he threw 4 innings, and he threw 66 pitches. I suppose there could be a scenario where you could get up to, let's say, 75 to 80 pitches his next start, wherever that is, if it's a minor league rehab assignment, or you could line it up to take this spot in the rotation. Again, we don't know that yet, but you would imagine that could be something that's getting thrown around, right? And maybe this is the last start we see for Randy Vasquez for a while, with Yu Darvish very close, at least to returning. Again, we don't know that yet, whether he would go out for a rehab assignment in the minor league somewhere, but it would seem that could be a possibility that Darvish could be slotted back into this rotation in this Vasquez spot. Again, Darvish threw yesterday 66 pitches. So that's sort of the big picture question with Vasquez in the rotation right now. But today's game, yeah, Vasquez had a tough day, and that's really where the story starts. Padres scored some runs late. Alec Jacob, we'll talk more about him. He was really good today. He did a really important job today. We'll talk more about him, but Jacob, 3 2/3 innings. Only guy the Padres had to use out of their bullpen today. So a really nice job by him. And it sets up, I think, an important rubber game of this series tomorrow. Padres went 2-2 in St. Louis. They're now 1-1 in Tampa Bay. So it's a 3 3-3 road trip. I think you'd love to have this be a winning road trip and head back home to San Diego. We'll talk more about it when we come back. We have all the radio highlights. We'll also hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Again, the final score, Rays 11, Padres 4. More post-game after this. Our post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score, Rays 11 and the Padres 4. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. We'll go back to Tropicana Field, hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt coming up in a few minutes, so stay tuned for that. First, let's recap this one from start to finish.
What moments had the biggest impact on today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game recap on the Padres Radio Network.
The Padres got off to a very quick start against Rays starter Shane Baz in the first inning. There was a runner on base for Jake Cronenworth.
Whitehair comes set, 2-0 pitch, swung on. Driven to right field and deep. Looking up is DeLuca. This one is gone. Home run for Jake Cronenworth. Home run number 16 on the season, and the Padres have an early 2-0 lead.
The Rays answered in the bottom half of the first inning. Randy Vasquez issued a walk, a double, an RBI single. For Jose Caballero, it was 2-1. Padres still led 2-1. Going to the bottom half of the second inning, Vasquez had just a runner on first base with 2 men away, but then a single, an RBI single from Brandon Lau, tied the game at 2. There were still 2 on base for Junior Caminero.
First pitch to him, swinging, driven towards left field and well hit. Going back is Merrill. He's at the wall. He looks up. It's gone. 3-run home run for Junior Caminero. And all of a sudden, the Rays have a 5-2 lead as the damage continues here in the second inning.
It stayed 5-2 until the bottom half of the fourth inning. Vasquez issued a 1-out walk. Brandon Lau doubled an intentional walk with 2 men away, loaded the bases for Jose Caballero.
The pitch swung on, line drive into left field, and it's going to one-hop Jurickson Profar. 1 run is in. They're going to send the second runner. Here comes the throw, and he is safe at the plate. It's a 2-run single for Jose Caballero, and the Rays now have a 7-2 lead, and we'll wait and see if Mike Shildt wants to challenge this play at the plate. It was pretty bang-bang.
There would be no challenge. The Rays weren't done. Ben Rortvedt hit an RBI single. That made it 8-2. Rays then got another run against Vasquez in the 5th inning on Christopher Morel's RBI single. It was a 9-2 Tampa Bay lead. Final line for Vasquez today, 4 innings and a third, 9 earned runs, 11 hits, 4 walks, and he struck out 3. Meanwhile, Boz would go 5 innings and allow just the 2 early runs. It stayed 9-2 until the top of the 7th inning. Padres made some noise against the Rays bullpen. Luis Campusano hit a 1-out single. Mason McCoy was next.
0-2 to McCoy, ground ball left side. Caminero on the backhand. It's going to go off his glove into left field down into the Padres bullpen. Campusano is heading towards third. Tim Leeper's going to send him. Campy is going to score. And the Padres now trail by a score of 9-3.
The lineup flipped over to Luis Arraez.
Padres have not been able to score since until now. Next pitch, line drive, base hit into left field. Tim Leeper is going to send McCoy. Here comes the throw. He is going to be safe at home plate. And the Padres have a rally going on the RBI single by Luis Arraez. Padres now trail 9-4.
So the Padres did have some momentum. Schultz and Profar then walk. Things continuing to get interesting, but Cronenworth grounded into a double play to end that 7th inning. It would stay 9-4 until the bottom half of the 8th inning. That's when Alec Jacob came back on. We'll talk more about him, but he was really good for the most part in this ball game. Jacob would give up a single, an RBI triple, an RBI ground out, 2 more runs for Tampa Bay. That made it 11-4. Padres would load the bases in the 9th inning. They could not score, and that was that here today. Final score, Tampa Bay 11 and San Diego 4. Final totals in this one for the Padres, 4 runs, 10 hits, no errors, and for Tampa Bay, 11 runs, 13 hits, and 1 error. Again, the Padres 77 and 61, Rays 67 and 68, setting up the rubber match of this 3-game set tomorrow in St. Petersburg at the Trop. Let's go back to the Trop right now and hear some post-game reaction.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Presented by Sinley Food. Spice up your culinary life.
Just a matter of Randy pitched okay, except trouble getting that third out.
Yeah, trouble getting the third out. We weren't able to escape some bigger crooked numbers. Didn't have a lot of, bullpen behind him. Just a matter of not being able to finish innings, get there. Randy's shown the ability all season to pitch out of traffic. He's in traffic a fair amount. Shown the ability to pitch out of traffic a lot, and today wasn't one of those days.
What did you see from his stuff today, just overall?
Yeah, I thought, the 2 leadoff walks, 1 got erased on a fielder's choice, but yet we're in the position for the fielder's choice. So, and the other leadoff walk scored. But other than that, he was mostly in the zone. I haven't had a chance to look at the pitches, but just in real time, looked like some balls got a lot of middle part of the plate, and like Ace was saying in his question, you just couldn't close out innings, couldn't get that big pitch at big out in a couple innings. So we've thrown together about 8 games now where we haven't been able to get probably on average to the 5th inning, and so it adds up. But let's give Alec Jacob a huge, you talk about gold star, man. That was huge for us. It was a little bit of a push in the 8th for him. He was getting close, but to be able to grab 3 2/3 and reset our bullpen was tremendous. It was a huge effort from Alec. A lot of respect the way he pitched and then being able to grab 3 2/3. That was fantastic.
You have a decision to make with your rotation once you comes back. Randy deserves a place in the rotation in September going forward?
We'll evaluate it. It's a little early right for the game to make that decision.
As August ends, how would you take stock of where your club is after this month?
I'd say it's a pretty good spot. Played a lot of really, really good baseball, firing on a lot of all the cylinders. Again today, we're never out of a game. We are never, ever, ever out of a game. We win, we're going to keep you down. And if we happen to be down, we're going to find a way to scratch and claw and get on top. And today we scratched and clawed, couldn't find a way to get on top. But look at that effort. The last, 4 innings, that could have easily been a mail-it-in game. But this group does nothing but, pedal on the right, gas down all the way. And So it's a great club, and it's great August, and it's going to be even better in September.
After tomorrow's game, you'll have no games outside of the Mountain Time Zone for the rest of the season. How important is that, just not having those airplane miles for all of September?
Yeah, I think I think the schedule between days off and travel was very favorable for us for September. But we're a very calloused club. We're a tough group, a lot of grit to this club. So, if you wanted to fly us back and forth to Japan, we'd play good baseball. But yeah, we're going to look forward to, being on the West Coast and continue to play really, really winning baseball.
Kyle, was he here this morning? He just came up.
Came here, flu symptoms, so didn't feel good. Still feeling not great. So we'll literally continue to take his temperature, how he feels. But camping went back there today. I thought he did a nice job swinging the bat well. But flu-like symptoms for Higgy.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt after today's game. 11-4, the Rays beat the Padres. Sam Levitt back with you inside our San Diego studios. You heard there at the end, Kyle Higashioka was a late scratch from today's lineup, out with flu-like symptoms. We'll see what the deal is tomorrow with Higashioka. Hopefully he's feeling better. You heard a lot of back and forth there about Randy Vasquez, and Mike Shildt sort of, I think, said what I said in the opening segment in a different way, and that's, look, that Randy deals with a lot of base traffic. It's been that way all year. The good thing for Randy on a lot of days has been he's been able to work around enough of it to keep you in the game and put together some pretty good outings, but today it just wasn't the case. A lot of the damage came with 2 outs, as you heard there, and he had 11 hits against them and 9 runs and just could not find a way out of those innings quickly enough and could not find a way to limit the damage. So it was a tough day for Randy Vasquez in that sense. You heard complimentary things about Alec Jacob. We'll talk a little bit more about him coming up shortly, and also there about Yu Darvish and when he comes back, and obviously we're not going to hear much on that, but look, again, like I said in the opening segment, will be interesting to see what the scenario is moving forward here with you throwing 66 pitches yesterday in Peoria in a controlled game, and obviously you would imagine maybe that it's being thrown around. Maybe he could take that spot in the rotation that Randy Vasquez has right now. We don't know that for sure at all. He could certainly go on a rehab assignment, do something else. I'm not telling you I know, I don't. But it certainly is an interesting thing to think about. But here today, right now, Padres fall 11-4 to the Rays. We'll come back. We'll talk about a Padre reliever who did a really good job today, really important job today. Much more on that when we return on the Padres Radio Network. Our post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Final score today, Rays 11 and the Padres 4. As we wrap this one up, we'll have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up in just a little bit, give you the up-to-the-minute wild card and divisional standings. And before we talk about the Padres bullpen, just to go back on something that was sort of discussed there in the post-game press conference, the bullpen, and you know, obviously the Padres didn't have a ton of bullpen today. We'll talk more about that in a second. But moving forward, one thing you'd love is the starting pitching for the Padres to get a little bit more back on track. You look at 3 out of the last 4 games, going back to the start, or excuse me. Well, let's just go through it here. Dylan Cease, this was on Tuesday in St. Louis, only went 4 innings and a third. Then you had Musgrove go 6 innings on the Wednesday. Michael King, 4 innings and a third in yesterday's game. Martin Perez, 5 innings yesterday. And here today, Randy Vasquez, 4 innings and a third. So the Padres have only had one pitcher go past 5 innings in a while here. Again, Vasquez 4 and a third. Perez only 5 innings yesterday. I say only. It was not a terrible outing for Perez. Had one big inning but settled in. Michael King 4 and a third. Cease 4 and a third. Musgrove had the 6. It's part of the reason the bullpen has been used so much as of late. So, man, you would love to see Dylan Cease tomorrow get out there and put together a real good, deep quality outing. And you'll have a fresh bullpen, for the most part, aside from Alec Jacob, tomorrow and Monday. So we'll see. But getting some deeper starting pitching, that would be nice, starting with Dylan Cease tomorrow. Let's tell you about today's relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher was able to come in and slam the door shut? It's time for the relief pitcher of the game in support of the Jacobs and Cushman San Diego Food Bank, providing food assistance to local children, families, and seniors in need. To get help or give help, visit SanDiegoFoodBank.org.
Our relief pitcher of the game today, give it to Alec Jacob. I think he deserves it in a major way today. 3 2/3 innings, 2 earned runs given up, 2 hits, struck out 1, threw 48 pitches, the second most he's thrown this season, including his time at AAA. The most important thing that Jacob did was make sure that the Padres didn't have to use another reliever. I mean, the Padres are going to have a very, very fresh bullpen now tomorrow and Monday to wrap up this 18-game and 18-day stretch. Alec Jacob did a really good and important job. I don't care about the 2 runs in the 8th inning. Meanwhile, when he went into that 8th inning, he was at 2 2/3 scoreless innings at one point today with no hits given up. So, look, they asked him to do a lot today. They asked him to throw a lot of pitches today. And as he saw batters the second time, they got to him a little bit more. It's understandable. Alec Jacob did a really good job in this game, and he's very deserving of our relief pitcher of the game. When we come back, full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. Much more to come as the Padres fall 11-4 against the Tampa Bay Rays, Game 2 of this 3-game series, setting up the rubber match of this series tomorrow. More post-game coverage after this on the Padres Radio Network. Our postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Final score, Padres 11 and the Rays 4 as the Padres drop the second game of this three-game series. They'll wrap up the series tomorrow and then head back to San Diego for the start of a homestand beginning on Labor Day on Monday. We'll have more on that coming up a little bit later on. Let's take you through the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the Bigs and tell you about the scores you need to know in our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Meat, where great taste meets integrity.
We have a couple of finals already today. One in D.C., Cubs beating the Nationals 5-3. In D.C. earlier today, Nico Horner had a couple of hits and scored a couple of runs in that game for Chicago. Cardinals beat the Yankees in New York 6-5. Brendan Donovan, a 3-run home run in that game for St. Louis. Cardinals winning a game at Yankee Stadium for the first time since Game 5 of the 1964 World Series. Obviously not this version of Yankee Stadium, but whatever Yankee Stadium the Yankees have been playing in, first time since the 1964 World Series. Games going on right now. Tigers 2, Red Sox 1 in Detroit in the 6th inning. Pirates 1, Guardians nothing in Cleveland in the 5th. A's and the Rangers are scoreless in the 2nd in Arlington. Royals and the Astros in Houston, second inning there, no score. Mets and the White Sox in Chicago, first inning, Mets 3, White Sox nothing. Pete Alonso a home run in that game. Blue Jays 7, Twins nothing in Minnesota in the first inning. Wow, Blue Jays scoring 7 runs in the top half of the first inning in that game. Braves and the Phillies scoreless in the second. Brewers and the Reds in Cincinnati scoreless in the first inning. Orioles and the Rockies in Colorado at 5:10 coming up later on today. Marlins and the Giants at 6:05. Dodgers and the Diamondbacks, game you care a lot about, at 5:10 in Arizona. And finally, Mariners and the Angels in Anaheim at 6:38. That's a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Saturday. So where are things right now as far as the wild card and the divisional standings? In the wild card, Padres at the moment are now back to a half game behind Arizona for the top wild card spot in the National League. And again, at the moment, they are 5.5 games behind LA for first place in the National League West. Now, like you probably know from the out-of-town scoreboard, Dodgers and Diamondbacks play tonight in Arizona. So if the Diamondbacks were to lose, Padres and Diamondbacks would remain even in the wild card standings. And if the Dodgers were to lose, then the Padres would remain 5 games out of first place in the National League West. So we'll see what happens in the Dodgers game against the Diamondbacks and go from there. We'll see where the Padres stand at the end of tonight. And, of course, we'll update you on that in the pregame coverage tomorrow. Padres fall 11-4 to the Tampa Bay Rays. Let's tell you about today's player of the game.
Which player had the biggest impact on today's game? Let's find out who is today's player of the game. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Catch every game at Patties and Pints. Plus, enjoy $4 beer every Thursday. Visit valleyviewcasino.com today.
For our player of the game, we'll stay on the Padres side of things for this one, tell you who made the biggest impact on the Padres side. And today, that was Jake Cronenworth. 3 hits. Home run early, gave the Padres an early 2-0 lead. Look, when he hits the home run there, at least I was thinking, okay, Padres are picking up right where they left off offensively from the day before. They had 13 runs on 13 hits yesterday in a really good spot. 2-0 lead, 3 batters in. But obviously Randy Vasquez really struggled, gives up 9 runs in 4 innings and a third. And a lot of that early momentum was erased. But look, Cronenworth had 3 hits in this game. The home run, 2 RBIs. Nice day for Jake, his 16th home run of the season. And for all of that, Jake Cronenworth, our player of the game. Luis Arraez also had 2 hits in this game, an RBI single. Mason McCoy had 2 hits, his first multi-hit game in his major league career. When we come back, we'll hear our play of the game, wrap things up, some final thoughts, get you ready for tomorrow. Final score here today, Rays 11 and the Padres 4 in the second game of this 3-game series on the Padres Radio Network. Our post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Final score today, Tampa Bay 11 and San Diego 4 as the Padres drop the second game of this three-game series. Padres now 77 and 61. The Rays improved to 67 and 68. And again, if you were enjoying this beautiful Saturday here in America's finest city, you missed the ball game. Really the main story. Padres took a 2-0 lead early on a Jake Cronenworth home run, but then Randy Vasquez gave up a run in the first inning, 4 in the second, 3 in the fourth inning, 1 in the fifth inning. It was a tough day for Randy. 4 innings in the third, 9 earned runs given up on 11 hits. Alec Jacob, like we alluded to earlier, certainly a big bright spot. He went 3 2/3 innings out of the bullpen, gave up 2 late runs, but he made sure the Padres didn't have to use any other reliever. Cronenworth had 3 hits. Arise had 2 hits, a couple of walks and a run scored. Mason McCoy, couple of hits, run scored, and he also had an RBI in this game. So some bright spots, but all in all, the story was Randy Vasquez giving up 9 runs in less than 5 innings. Hey, anytime your starting pitcher has that kind of line, it's going to be a tough game to win, and it was that way today for the Padres. We'll preview tomorrow's game in a moment. First, let's hear today's play of the game.
What was the crucial play that determined who came out on top? This is today's Play of the Game, presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
First pitch to him, swinging, driven towards left field and well hit. Going back is Merrill. He's at the wall. He looks up. It's gone. 3-run home run for Junior Caminero. And all of a sudden, the Rays have a 5-2 lead as the damage continues here in the second inning.
Junior Caminero, the 3-run home run in the second, broke a 2-2 tie early. Rays took a 5-2 lead, and that was that in the ball game. 5-2. Rays would get 3 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth, 2 in the eighth inning, but certainly the Caminero home run that totally changed the complexion of the ball game. So that's it. Rays win it 11-4. As always, that doesn't give me any great pleasure to have the Caminero home run be our play of the game, but pretty undeniable here today. That was the biggest swing of the game for the Padres. All right, we look ahead to tomorrow. Tomorrow, the pitching matchup, right-hander Dylan Cease against right-hander Ryan Pepiot. We will hit the air tomorrow at 10 a.m. with our pregame coverage against Cease for the Padres, Pepiot for the Tampa Bay Rays, with the pregame coverage beginning at 10 a.m. tomorrow. As always, if you missed any of our post-game coverage here on the Padres Radio Network, you can go back and listen to all of it on the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast with Sam Levitt, available on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcasts. You can also go back on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube channel and find any portion of our post-game show there as well. Taking a look at the final totals here today for the Rays: 11 runs, 13 hits, 1 error. They left on 7. For the Padres, 4 runs, 10 hits, no errors. They left on 9. Winning pitcher in this game, Shane Baz, who improves to 2-2. Losing pitcher was Randy Vasquez, who drops to 4-7. Time of game, 2 hours, 37 minutes, and the crowd at Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida, 16,600. We'll be on the air 10 a.m. tomorrow for the final game of this 3-game series and this road trip. Until then, for our great studio coordinator, Frank Marchese, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long from inside our San Diego studios. Again, the final score here today, the Tampa Bay Rays 11 and the San Diego Padres 4. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Padres Radio Network. Have a great rest of your Saturday.